They like, they're a businessman. You get in there and they get you out. This lady was a lot more relaxed.
You're actually. But you're actually in the wrong seat. Your names are backwards.
We had a
It's fine. So now,
figured it was simple.
just saying.
What they do.
Got your back.
And I was there 6 months.
Serves you for sitting in the wrong seat.
During the strike, my
Yeah, the youngins.
and then I never left.
Assume we're good to go, right? Good evening. Today is September 2nd, 2024, and I'm now going to call the regular Salem City Council meeting to order. The invocation will be given by Daniel Hardy III, and I ask that after the invocation, you stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Jesus, we come to you today. We thank you for the opportunity to be here in this council meeting. I pray you'd help each of the members of the council and the trustees from Perry Township as they would make making decisions tonight. Just guide them and lead them in your truth, Jesus. And I pray that whatever be said and done here tonight may bless your name. I pray in your name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sounds really nice.
Debbie, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bear.
Present.
Ms. Bricker.
Here.
Mr. Gano.
Here.
Mr. Harrington.
Here.
Mr. Knoll.
Present.
Mr. Stockman.
Here.
Mr. Zellers.
Here.
Thank you. Oh, yes. So, do I have a motion to excuse President Evan Newman? Mr. Gano, second. Mr. Stockman? Debbie? Excused.
Trustee Arapoli,
Here.
Trustee Armini. Here. Trustee Bailey,
Here.
and Fiscal Officer are all here.
Thank you.
Wait to call the roll for Evans.
Mrs. Bear.
Yes.
Ms. Bricker.
Yes.
Mr. Gano.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington.
Yes.
Mr. Knoll.
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Yes.
Everybody received a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, minutes will go into record. We have no petitions or remonstrances. Are there any visitors, Debbie? We're all out of sorts today. No visitors. Okay, I think at this time, we'll open up. Oh, I thought, okay. Report of city officials, Mayor.
Thank you. The first thing on our agenda is I have Craig Fair for an appointment to the Utilities Commission, and I need approval by council. We have a motion for that?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Debbie, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Bear.
Yes.
Ms. Bricker.
Yes.
Mr. Gano.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington.
Yes.
Mr. Knoll.
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to open the floor to communication about the annexation agreement through both councils and trustees. So we have a proposed agreement in its most recent form in front of you tonight, and we'll let the discussion begin through Mr. Knoll's direction.
Yeah, so let the discussion begin. So obviously, we've talked about this in one meeting prior. There've been a couple of drafts of this particular agreement that have been circulated. So I would like to open up the floor. First, I'll open it up to our guests, being the gentleman from Perry Township, to offer any thoughts, ideas, concerns, or what have you.
I mean, as you guys are well aware, we've been working on this for probably the last 2 years, trying to come to some kind of a agreement between the city and the township. Primarily, the reason behind it is economic development. As we all know, township has the land, city has utilities. That seems to be the big difference between the two. We've had multiple meetings on this, multiple drafts on this. I think the last time we were here, the major sticking point was the deed restrictions that were on there. Currently, we were at 25 years, the length of this agreement, and it seemed like the city did not want to move off of them at all. So in our discussions with the mayor, with Mr. Zellers, that we came to a conclusion of 12 and a half years, kind of meeting in the middle on the deed restrictions. So that's pretty much what is in this proposal. Everything else is virtually identical. There's some words changed here and there. Mr. Zellers, you looked at it. I think every change that you asked for, those were all addressed in this agreement. So that kind of puts us where we are right now. This is, at some point in time, we had to come to a final agreement that we're going to put out there. We have to make it public for 30 days, that the public is able to comment on it, which, you know, from the trustees side, you know, we're asking people if you have questions, comments. It's available from Mr. Volio. He'll have copies of it from our side of things to reach out to the trustees to be able to answer any questions on it. So that's it from our side.
I just want to clarify that that hold is on residential deed restrictions only. And also, the thing that I don't see in here that we did talk about was some kind of a, maybe I missed it, some kind of an agreement that deed restrictions are considered consent.
You talking about that provision, Cindy?
I mean, maybe you put it in somewhere that I didn't see it.
Well, I didn't ask them to change anything after the last discussion that we had about this. Can't recall.
Okay, so it's probably not.
Oh, it's
in-
Article 16 you were talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we did add to the end of that, but not supersede any prior annexation agreement. That was to cover the previous annexation agreements, but also my read of this is this agreement constitutes the entire agreement of the parties and supersedes, incorporates, and integrates any prior understandings or previous oral or written agreements between the parties respecting the subject matter of this agreement. The deed restrictions are between the individual people in the city, and therefore really not subject to this, but more importantly, the subject matter of this agreement is stated in the beginning, and that is the parcel, as we've designated, which is the unannexed territory that's out in the township currently. So I don't think that this is going to change anything. If you want to tighten up that language in there to say, to reference that it doesn't affect the prior deed restrictions, I mean, I don't know if you guys have an issue with that.
So there's a lot of language talking about that we won't annex without their written consent, and I just would feel more comfortable for, you know, in 12 and a half years, all of us may not even be sitting here. And it would be really good to clarify that we consider deed restrictions to be consent.
Mhm.
But I think part of, what is it, the Ohio Revised Code Expedited 1 requires a written from the property owner to apply for annexation. I mean, I think I have it here, but I'm pretty sure that that was one of the items in that section, because the type 1 expedited annexation applies to CEDOs, and I could sit here and read this in front of all of you, but it may take me a little bit. But Brooke, do you have any?
I mean, both of those types of annexation that we're contemplating in here do require an application has to be filed Cindy, I think actually what you're talking about was another provision in here where we talked about that, I think at the last council meeting, specifying that when they sign a deed restriction, that already means consent, so we don't end up in the same spot 12 and a half years from now that we are now, where the next landowners say, we just don't wanna. If that's what is that what you're referring to, Cindy?
I think that was addressed in one of the comments that you made. I don't remember what section is, because there's been so many changes
Yeah, I'm
throughout
trying
it,
to find
but
it right now.
I just don't see that spelled out, and there's a lot of language about written consent and us not going. So like, if 12 and a half years go by and the utilities department sends out a notice to deed restriction holders that the 12 and a half years is up and they are now contiguous, I don't want them to say, oh, well, you voided the agreement by enforcing the deed restriction when that is consent. See what I mean?
What if they're
We're
not
gonna-
continuous?
We're not gonna be here, well, if they're not contiguous, it doesn't matter.
It's a moot point at that point.
Yeah,
right.
but if they are, then, the clock ran out. I don't wanna come in here when I'm 80 years old and say, the 12 and a half years is up.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Do you? I mean, come on. And not everybody sitting here may even remember anything about this, just the same as all of us sat here and had to be completely re-educated on what happened 40 years ago.
Right.
I got a question. Mayor, it says in Article 3 about the fourth sentence down, it mentions written consent.
Yes, but is a deed restriction considered by this agreement written consent, is
But-
my question.
But even if it has a deed restriction, they have to apply for annexation, which would then go to the type 1 expedited that requires them to file for annexation. So that, and part of that, I think, is where it has to be a written from the property owner to apply for that annexation. And that's an Ohio revised code. I don't see us any way that we can skirt that part of it.
We did put this in here, I just found it in, Article 3B, 2, or II. You guys, the township further agrees at the written request of the city to appear at any hearings before the Board of Commissioners and assist the city in annexation of the property, and including providing testimony under oath that the township agrees to annexation. I mean, I don't know if it doesn't quite get to where the mayor's talking about, but obviously, if we've got a situation where, people have a deed restriction, they're now contiguous, they just don't wanna annex, I read that to indicate you guys are gonna assist us in enforcing that. Do you feel the same way, or not?
Right, if they're not contiguous, they couldn't annex in anyhow
Correct, but
based
if
off
they are
of the-
contiguous and now the deed restriction's up, and they should annex.
That's gonna be between the city and,
But according to that
Property owner.
paragraph, Brooks asking, according to that paragraph, you would assist the city in helping with that annexation and
well, part of it says that we will not, go the opposite direction and fight any type of, and I think it does say assist in there.
it does in the
Yeah.
II section.
It does, it
Yeah.
says assist the city. in
And virtually what it
annexation
comes
of the
down
property.
to, so somebody applies for a type 1 annex, or the annexation, they send the paperwork in, their attorney draws up the paperwork, they send it down to, the city signs off on it, the township signs off on it, it goes to the county then approves it. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah,
So, at that point, the township would not be fighting that annexation, saying we don't want it to happen. No, it's part of the agreement, and that's where the deed restriction comes into play from the
oh,
city.
I found it, we did add it,
Oh, where is it?
cause I was in my notes
I
that I
know, we
sent to you
talked
guys.
about it.
Steve, you added it in, Article 3F. It's at the very end of the paragraph there. Yeah. Parties stipulate and agree that the execution of any deed restriction or the purchase of any property containing a deed restriction requiring annexation, if a property becomes contiguous to the city of Salem, is considered the owner's consent for the purposes of the subdivision. So
Thank
it is
you.
in there.
Thank you.
I was sure, because like Steve said, though, there's been so many
Yeah.
versions of
So
this
many
thing.
revisions,
All right.
yes.
I have a question. If it is contiguous, and after the ones that are in dispute now, okay, we're gonna give a 12 and a half year pause, basically, on that. Under this agreement, are those annexations automatic? Or did I understand you to say that the homeowner has to apply for annexation?
My understanding is they have to apply.
Okay, so what if, okay, we go 12 and a half years, and everybody in that neighborhood says, let's just not apply?
That would be between the city and the resident.
Yeah, so.
And no matter what, that could happen today. I mean, it could
What I'm
happen at
saying
any
is-
point in time.
What I'm saying is, what does the 12 and a half year restriction mean if at the end of 12 and a half years, you can easily avoid annexation by simply not applying? What does the 12 and a half mean? Nothing.
So according to the deed restriction, it says in order to continue to use the water and utility services, you have to
Well, we don't want to be cutting
annex.
off people's
No,
water.
we don't, and that's why we're still here today.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I mean, if, it seems to me, if I'm understanding correctly, I am new here, but if we've got a 12 and a half year pause in those restrictions, and at the end of the 12 and a half years, those are not automatic, but are basically an option still.
It is
If they're not
automatic.
continuous.
Yeah.
If they are contiguous.
Then
There are
it's
some
automatic.
disputed properties now that are contiguous, that we're gonna grant a 12 and a half year pause on. And at the end of the 12 and a half years, if it's not automatic annexation under this agreement, my understanding from Mr. Bailey is that the way to not get annexed is just don't apply.
Those, Mr. Harrington, the properties that are in question are not contiguous as of right now.
As of right now, under the first lawsuit, yes,
Correct.
yes,
So they're not contiguous as of right now.
as of right now.
So now, when they do become contiguous, it is, as Attorney Zeller's read, they will be forced to annex, as they'd be forced to annex now. But there's no fight involved when they're getting annexed in
And again,
12 and a half years.
just to clarify, so I understand, they'll be forced to annex
Mhm.
if they
They'll be
apply,
required to annex.
Yes, they're required.
if they apply.
There's one
You
right
ha-
now sitting out there that's required to annex, but they're just waiting to see how this all comes out.
Yeah, I understand, I
And there's
understand.
another one that's in dispute.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if I were one of those homes and I didn't want to annex, at the end of the 12 and a half years, I just would file the paperwork to request annexation.
Well, that could be the issue with all deed restrictions in general at
Yeah.
any point
Yeah.
in time.
Sure,
Forever.
I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
Which
you
is
know,
why we
I'm
stopped.
learning here,
So
you
what
know?
if-
I mean, if you wanna
and I'm
eliminate
just
all of
going
them,
off
that's
of-
fine too.
I'm just
Yeah.
going off of, I'm just going off of
Sounds
what,
like it's an easy
what you
solution.
have said.
That's why we
And,
stopped doing
you
them
know,
now.
So it comes down to the question of what does the 12 and a half year moratorium on annexation of properties that may be, right now not, but may be decided are contiguous, or may become contiguous. It doesn't seem to me that the 12 and a half year restriction means anything if the only thing a property owner has to do is simply not file the request to be annexed
Well,
under
Jim,
Ohio law.
Jim, we didn't want the deed restrictions at all.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's how we came about
Yeah,
I
getting
understand.
to
This
12.
has been a long
I understand,
But
yeah.
journey.
And I
Yeah.
think you gotta
It's-
look at the big picture of this whole agreement is try to get some economic development in this area for both the township and the city.
Yeah,
And all of the other parts to it. I mean, we all know there's areas that can be developed that's gonna benefit both the city and the township going forward. And I think that's the biggest part of this agreement as opposed to,
Yeah.
all these other things. Yes, a deed restriction became a problem, people agree with them, they don't agree with them, and this gives them a period of time that if somebody really doesn't like a deed restriction, that they know in 12 and a half years that they're probably gonna have to annex in and things could be changed. But
Yeah, I just wanna go on record as saying that I am 100% behind an agreement between Perry and Salem to help the economic development in this area and to help the people of both Perry and Salem. I am 100% behind that, okay? I'm just trying to understand what certain things mean, okay? And right now, I still haven't been convinced that the only thing, one of the things that's been the flashpoint, the friction point, is these deed restrictions. And Salem and Perry are now discussing a moratorium on those deed restrictions, okay, for 12 and a half years. But, and I could have misunderstood you, but I seem to hear you say that it's required by Ohio code that the only way that a property can annex a house or whatever is if they file the paperwork to formally request being annexed. Okay, so I think it's a fair question. What does the 12 and a half moratorium mean if at the end they can just opt out by not filing the paperwork?
Well, it's kind of like if we're all for the economic development, but when we start throwing in deed restrictions and things like that, then it seems like you're more into wanting to take all of the township.
No,
So that's why some of those things were,
no.
put in place.
I want to be clear. I am for an agreement. I think that the frictions between Perry and Salem have historically not helped business development. Okay, that needs to end. Okay, this agreement is a wonderful opportunity to start some cooperation, okay, to help the people of Perry and Salem get good jobs. Can you imagine how good we'll feel if 5 years from now under this agreement, we've brought 100, 200, 500 new good paying jobs into this area? That would be a wonderful thing. It would transform the area. I am all for that. I'm simply just trying to understand some of the nuances, since I'm new here, of this agreement, and ask questions. I'm not trying to throw sand in the gears at all, at all. Whenever an agreement is entered into, both parties have to transparently understand exactly what could become a friction point under the agreement. And the way to mitigate those friction points is to discuss them up front, put your cards on the table and ask questions and talk it out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I guess if our next step is, if we were to move forward with this, is that we would have to have a meeting in at least 30 days that would be open to the public. Everybody would be able to comment prior to that, to the trustees, to council, to the mayor, to whoever about it. And then we would have an open public meeting about the agreement. And then at that point in time, then each side would decide which direction they're gonna go. So, but we have to get, we finally got to a good, agreement, it seems like, yes, everybody's gonna have their opinions on what they think's fair or not fair, but I think that's kind of where we are right now, and our next step would be to have a meeting within 30 days, or after 30 days, sorry.
Which would give a lot of time for questions to be answered and things like that. I mean, things that people don't know, I think, could be answered in those 30 days. Plus, you'd have many readings after that anyway, so.
And what if there's something else we find that maybe we want to discuss it?
That's the time to do it, is at 30 days,
Yep,
100%.
that's what the public meeting would be for.
Mr. Knoll? I do have something I want to follow up on that we talked about at the last meeting with the tax split, the 70-30 on the income and the 50-50 on the property. So I built a model and just kind of took it out as far as knowing that we have 86% of our budget goes to safety forces. So the way we have the agreement set up now is basically if we annex an area, obviously we take safety forces, city engineers, city paving, snow removal, parks, the whole enchilada. So I ran this just based on safety forces alone. And I think we're off on the 70-30 and the 50-50. And what I did is, so you take the national average, I just did this by number of households for modeling sake, 100, 300, and 500. And on average, there's 2.3 residents per home. And then I took the total amount of income tax that we have in the general, fund, and you divide that over the number of residents, and you get $100 and some roughly per resident that's contributing, and then you look at all the property tax we bring in and divide that by the number of properties, and you get a number there. But anyways, so with doing all this, you take, you know, if I broke it down with 0, 10, 20, and 30. So if the city were to give, and that's keeping a 50-50 on the property tax, but if the city were to give the township 0%, 10, 20, and 30, does that make sense so far? Are you following on this model? Okay. And then when you look at the households, so if you just do it at 100 households, 230 residents, and you kind of extrapolate that out, the issue that I still see is that the city goes negative anything past about 15%. So if you take how much we're bringing in, let's just assume that those numbers are constant, because I mean, some will be very expensive, you know, there'll be high income earners and big houses, low income earners or no income earners, and smaller homes, so it's just taking an average of what we currently have. And you take that across there, and every model I build out there for the different sizes, you're still looking at, you know, the city comes out modestly, you know, net positive if nothing goes to the township except for the property tax split. At 10%, it gets a lot more compacted, and in all cases, once you go to 20% or 30, the city starts losing money pretty significantly thereafter. So the question being, are you guys open to because that's what we can't sustain that. Obviously, we can't pass that on to the city residents, because ultimately what that would lead to is most likely a levy we'd have to pass. So we'd have to increase taxes on the city residents to be able to make payments to the township for the income tax split. So are you guys willing?
Have you taken into account the commercial pickup of property taxes from commercial side to offset any of those numbers?
That's baked in there, yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
You're referring to, Mr. Gano, like if a lot of streets were developed, then that's where you would cost as far as the snow removal and your.
That's not even
your ice
factored
and
in
stuff
there.
like that.
If you
No,
factor that in.
I'm just
because-
asking, I'm
yeah.
trying to follow what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm
You-
just saying that, hey, if
like-
for every additional, because if you look at our budget, I
Mile
mean,
or-
I'm not even talking that, I'm just saying if you look at it from just a property, assuming that we live in, what's that movie, Minecraft, where everything's this nice little neat square, and everything is, you know, all things being equal, for every incremental household or property you add, assuming that everybody pays, that's averaging out income, averaging out the income tax, all that. Because it's, otherwise it would be nearly impossible to generate a model. And again, these numbers aren't deadly accurate, but it's the thing is we're looking at as a trends, which way, you know, where it goes. And from what I'm seeing is it anything past about, I have to get a little more specific because I did it 10, 20, but just kind of looking at the breakdown in that 15, call it 12 to 17% range, somewhere is where it goes negative. And that's again, not including the other services. So that's my concern, is that it will tank the city's budget, because right now, I mean, it's public record, you can look, we're running pretty close to money in, money out. With occasionally you have a little blip one way or another, you rely on your carryover to offset that, or the occasional oil money or something like that, but, so that was my question. Sorry, it's kind of late breaking, I've been working on this kind of over the weekend and into today to get these kind of built out.
What expenses are you including in your model? What
Strict-
expenses?
Strictly safety. Fire,
Safety.
police, EMS, that's about 86% of our budget.
Nothing with the road side of it?
Nothing in there yet, yeah.
So, and this came up in part of our conversations before, about it, like, if a property got annexed in, you're not hiring more police people, you're not hiring more fire people, more EMS, I mean, that you could withstand to bring in a lot more property, a lot more income, that your expenses are not going to really change a whole lot, because if you don't have to add additional staff, you're not gonna have more expenses, but you're gonna have the revenue. So how would you factor that into your model on income? Because you can't really break it down per person like
Sure.
you did if you have income coming in and no expenses going out.
Well, again, I don't know, this is something, I mean, to do a fully comprehensive review of all this, I mean, we'd have to look and see how many, you know, right now, where are we at with how many police officers we have to the population. And in addition to that, as you know, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but assuming that, you know, we're kind of in the center and Perry Township's surrounding us in a circle, the further out you get, it's not, well, it's only a half mile, well, it's a half mile, but that's, you know, the radius here, you're getting a lot more landmass, so you're driving more, you have further distance to cover. You know, that's part of it, but the other thing is, it's, I think it'd be dangerous if we said, well, hey, we're only bringing a couple more people, so it's not that big a deal. Yeah, we can cover it, but if the growth continues, that time will come, and as it's showing right now, that, okay, so, yeah, we're okay, but as soon as we have to hire, it's, the national average, for the census and FBI is about 2.2 police officers per 1,000 for an area our size, and 1.5 firefighters per 1,000. So it's, you're cooking along, and all of a sudden, it's, you know, call it 4 people, an average probably total cost of 85,000. Boom, that hits, and it's, you know, it's a pretty radical, you have to bring in a lot more population before you bring it up, and every time that population goes up, it continues to drop. And that's, I'm saying, at that higher 30%, it's a lot more sustainable if it's a smaller share.
Right, well, that's the price you pay sometimes when you expand, though. Because
that's a pretty
each,
poor
that's what
argument.
eats your infrastructure. Because when you go to hire a cop or a policeman or something like that, you're talking over $100,000 a man. Paying
Yeah.
his wages.
No, if it's
paying his
100,000 a man, then my
PRS,
model is way
paying
off,
his
'cause I was
insurance.
factoring 85.
I'm just saying, that eats up your,
Well, I understand
your
that.
money that, you know, your
Yeah, I mean,
infrastructure that you're
scared money don't
bringing
make
in.
money, you gotta spend money to grow. I get
Right,
that.
I'm just, I'm
Yep. I
just
get it.
giving my opinion.
Sure.
So when we came up with the 70-30 split, I mean, we talked about many different splits, but when we came up with the 70-30 as, that's the bottom, that's how far we can go and that's it, is after talking to safety forces. And one of the people we talked to was JT Pansot, the chief of police, and he says that even if we were to annex, now we're not saying we're doing this, even if we were to annex the entire township around us, he could cover that with 2 additional officers. And so the cost from these theoretical, you know, everybody's the same type of things is
Well,
not
these
really.
are actual numbers, though, just
I
to
know, but
find out
it's
about
not
it. It's all
really
theory.
realistic as far as what the people who do the jobs think that they need to do it. And so that's, when you're looking at income tax, increasing our base and getting real estate taxes, hopefully they'll still be there in a couple years. It really does make financial sense on a real live basis. Right now, there's not a township-run EMS. There is a volunteer fire department. We all mutually aid each other. Police is the one that has the biggest, you know, you have this, we have this, and that doesn't mean we don't go out and aid each other, we do. But, you know, he's pretty good at estimating what he would need to do an entire township. So little pieces that we're talking about over the next 25 years are not gonna be the whole township. I wouldn't predict that.
Yeah, I understand
So
it.
less than 2 employees in the police department.
Would that be 2 officers per shift?
No, he said 2 total. To be able to police the entire township.
Probably
And most
running
of it
cover
is-
shifts.
And most of it is because that, you are surrounding us, you
Mhm.
know, you're the donut and we're the hole. And so, we are centralized to everyone.
Right, it's not that many miles.
Right. And thank goodness, knock wood, we have a pretty safe community here most of the time.
We do on both sides, I mean, it's.
Yes,
it's-
I mean,
it's
that's what I mean, is the whole township,
Great.
including us,
Excellent.
yeah. I mean, it's not like Chicago or DC or where you have murders every day and.
Oh, I get
I
that.
mean, but there is still crime.
Oh, yeah.
And Jake, kind of answer your question on that, you know, like she had mentioned, was we were way off in numbers, completely opposite directions, and we went back and forth trying to come up with something that seemed feasible to both the city and the township, that both could survive. And that's where we ended up with those numbers. There were some language issues that went in different directions to go along with it. So throughout this whole process, I could go back to our first meetings and they were totally different.
Oh,
than
sure.
where we are now. And that's something that, you know, I talked to the other trustees about it. Well, guess what? They want 60-40 on the income tax. You go on 80, I mean, you could go back and forth on all these numbers forever. Somebody's gonna want something different. So this is what we felt comfortable on both sides of things.
And we
Yeah.
definitely couldn't do 60-40.
Well, I'm aware of that. I mean, all I'm asking is, I mean, based on the math I'm running in our current averages, again, I go back, my concern is that there's a, whoops, or it's, it turns out we didn't need 2, we needed 4, whatever it might be. And at that point in time, we're in a pickle because I can't in good conscience go back to the people and say, hey, we gotta put a levy because we gotta fund more emergency services. And they say, well, why? Well, because we don't have enough revenue from our income tax because we're giving a chunk of it to Perry. And at that point, you guys aren't providing any. There's mutual aid, sure, but you're not providing any of the services. You know, once we take that over, you know, your expenses on that stop, they go to 0.
So that's not necessarily true from the township side of things. I mean, I look at what we have right now.
Right.
I mean, I run our numbers all the time. We have 5 police officers. That is the minimum that we can cover 24/7. We have a few part-time on top of that. So the township can go 0, cannot go any less on police officers. We have the volunteer fire department, no cost there. Road department, we have 2 workers. That's the minimum we can go there. So there's no, and no matter what, whether we lose 5 properties or we lose 20, those costs are gonna remain the same for the township.
Yeah.
We're not reducing anything.
Well, first, I guess there's a mismatch, I'm confused on that. If you're saying you have to have a minimum of 5 and you're saying 2,
So when you
If they take
when
the
you
time.
consolidate services,
Well,
there
yeah.
are a lot of things that we duplicate. And a lot of, you know, cruisers and territories and things like that. I mean, we had quite a long discussion about how you would make that happen. And anytime you consolidate, you save. And it's more efficient if you have good people and good managers.
I get that. I mean, I'm not, I guess I'm not buying it though, is the.
That's all right, you don't have to.
It's,
I mean, I'm going by the word of someone who's done it for,
sure. I'm going by, I
Decades.
mean, I'm going by national averages published by the FBI, the Census Bureau.
sure.
I mean, and I'm pulling actual tax data. This is a little outdated. 2022 was the most recent I had for our revenues, but it's one where it
I think the ultimate goal that's gonna benefit us both is more on the business side, the commercial side. The more we get on it, you're gonna get a lot more bang for your buck,
Yeah,
so to speak, because, you know, you're not gonna have to cover a lot more, but if you get a lot more jobs, they're gonna, I mean, one, if they
More
build
taxes.
a new building, you know, the property taxes just went up significantly. If they hire more employees, that's gonna go up. If they show a profit, that's income taxes.
Well,
So all those things, you're gonna get a lot more out of that than you would on the residential
I
side.
realize all that, I'm just saying, but to get there, it's one where if it doesn't happen quick enough, that's what I'm concerned. If we're paying out the higher number and it's not happening quick enough, that's where we get in
You can
trouble.
go really slow if you want.
Yeah, but
They
you
are
don't
not.
pay anything out if you don't develop. It's only when you start
But
developing and
yeah.
annexing that you pay.
But
You know,
again, we don't have a
there has
crystal
to be
ball that we know
something
that
there.
exactly we're gonna get.
If we
lots of
sat
it.
just like we are today, it costs us nothing from what we're paying in now. But what it costs us is in the opportunities.
Yeah, I like to cover the what-ifs though,
I
cause
know.
it's always the what-ifs are the ones that bite you.
Well, the agreement's for only 25 years too, so that'll be up to the new people in both sides. To, if they wanna continue that, redo it, or whatever, I mean, if that helps you,
Yeah.
Mr. Gano,
Well-
you know what I mean? Maybe they could negotiate something better on what you're saying.
Since I'm new to this discussion, could you explain to me how you got to the 25-year?
So based off of,
And-
the attorney that drew up the agreement, it was 50.
Okay.
That's normally what they go with in an agreement. We figured that was too far out of 50 years, so that's why we came down to 25.
Was there any discussion of another end game, not in time, but in function? So dissolution of city, dissolution of Perry Township, that sort of a conversation, rather than a timeline?
I mean, I think it would be hard not to have some kind of timeline involved in it, and that's normally what they do. I mean, a lot of this stuff is based off of what the attorney's recommendations were. That's why we went with an attorney.
I
mean,
understand.
I'm not, so I go off of what other ones have done, and I've seen quite a few different ones from that attorney and throughout the state, and some of them are even 100 years.
And I'm looking at the function rather than
It's
the
what?
I'm looking at the function of the agreement rather than
Yeah.
the timeline. So, something
So-
to consider.
And the fact of the matter is, Sarah, if tomorrow, after we talk about all this and all get it all ironed out, and the next day after we sign this agreement, some big company like Kimberly-Clark comes along and says, hey, we want to put a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar development, and it's going to take up Salem Township and Butler Township and Perry Township, and we want the city to give us water, like Warren did. We, of course, are going to renegotiate an additional agreement, some type of a JED, where we do better all the way around. Of course we are, because we all want a cut of that pie. We're not gonna stick with this agreement, that's not good for, that would not be good for anybody. We would have to bring in those other townships and split it up depending on what they had to give and how much land was in there and things like that. And that's where starting now and having a cooperative agreement between us and showing that we can do it on this scale opens the doors to things like that.
Which we don't have now.
Quite frankly, the way it's been going is not working.
Yeah.
It's
No.
not beneficial, it's not beneficent to
What
It's
we're
lost
doing
us
now
a-
is
the
not
township.
It's
to
lost us
any
a
of the
I don't want you guys
$27
to think I'm
million
against this at all.
project this
Yeah.
year.
I'm 100%, I mean, this is, it's a heck of a good start from the standpoint if a business wants to
We
come
all
in.
are.
You've got a roadmap, this is how it works, that's great. My concern is just with the revenue side of it,
I understand.
so.
But again, I mean, I do disagree with you in some aspects, meaning businesses are different than residential. Residential honestly is gonna cost more money than a business is coming in, cause you have more employees, more taxes, more revenue from a business standpoint than you do a residential standpoint. That's why any of these negotiations were always geared towards, there is no moratorium on businesses for the 12.5 years, commercial side of it. All these things were thought of when these guys were talking about a lot of this stuff, to where it wasn't going to be a big expense coming up front, that it can be an overtime situation, because they're going after businesses first.
And, you know, with the commercial properties versus residential, I guess I know that the idea is, boy, we'd love to get, you know, your large manufacturers, whatever in here. But if tomorrow, let's say we execute all this, and tomorrow a national developer came in and said, we have demand, we wanna put in 3,000 new homes.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
It would be great, but it also changes the equation though, as far as, you know, what type of, I mean, what if they came in and say it's gonna be a retirement type community, you know, 3,000 unit of retirement, and that's not paying a whole lot of income tax at that point. Property taxes there, but again, that's eating up a lot of space that now isn't going to your, you know, mega manufacturer with its $50 million facility. And again, I'm playing the extreme what ifs.
Oh, yeah.
But if you don't prepare for the extreme what ifs, again, that's when
Right,
that happens.
I got you, but then that answers Mrs. Bear's question too. That's why we have a 25-year agreement. So when things will be different in 25 years, so it'll be up for newer people to look at that and discuss that.
And remember, just because we can annex doesn't mean we have to annex. We have to, as a council, accept annexations.
Okay. Those are my questions.
I have a question. Is that all right?
Yes, please.
Mr. Knoll?
Yep.
The mayor mentioned the possibility, as we know, the Ohio State, you know, the state of Ohio is considering getting rid of property taxes. Okay. When I first read this agreement, I was rather surprised not to find something that addressed that. Now, our jobs are to put an agreement together that mitigates, that minimizes any kind of potential friction points during the course of this agreement. I think a very fair question is, what if we're a year into this agreement and the state of Ohio eliminates property taxes? I can't imagine that Perry will be very happy with that, and that's definitely a potential friction point. Should we talk about that now? Maybe how we will address that, how we'll resolve that prior to enacting the agreement to mitigate that becoming a a friction point during the term of the agreement?
So there is a clause in here about the income, if the real estate taxes did disappear, that that something has to replace them. School districts, townships, they're not
Yes.
gonna survive if there's no real estate taxes, it's impossible. So if they're eliminated, something's gonna have to come in their place. What is it? I have no idea, and I don't think anybody has any idea at this point in time from the stuff I've read. So we can go through 1,000 what-ifs on trying to figure out what it is, and I don't think we would be able to come up with a conclusion on it. But it does have in here that if something did happen to the real estate taxes, that we would meet, and virtually whatever's replacing those real estate taxes would then be part of the agreement.
Yeah, I understand that. Article 5B requires agreement on how to treat new or modified taxes. That's 5B as in boy. Okay, the plan for, the process for doing that is for Perry and Salem to meet and talk about it. There is no clear definition or process or way that it says who makes the final decision, how is this decision made. You know, it basically just says we're gonna get together, order a pizza and talk about it. You know, this is something that if Vivek Ramaswamy is elected governor, which now appears that he will be, I think increases the likelihood that those property taxes will go away. He wants that, right? Whether they go away or not, I have no idea, but there's a potential there. And I do think that we all need to think about, probably not in this meeting, but think about how we're going to address that and how the decision will be made. What will the process be made other than just getting together and talking about it? I think that we ought to, I mean, I'll go home and I'll come up with maybe some solutions, some ideas. I think we should all do that because that might be coming down the pike. And I want an agreement that makes everyone happy. Perry, Salem, everybody, okay? I don't want a year from now for us to be really angry with each other and fighting about this if it does happen. So I think we ought to just really put some thought into that, some careful thought, and think about, if that happens, what are we gonna do? Okay? That's my first point. The second point, if I may.
Please.
Article 5C, I consider something that maybe I'm not understanding, but the actual wording of 5C is first paragraph, or in the middle there, cities shall have the final right to approval in its sole discretion of economic incentives, in other words, sweeteners, that we would negotiate with a prospective business that wants to come into this area with respect to income taxes, abatements, tax increment financing, and the Community Reinvestment Act of any parcels. Now, the very next sentence carves out property taxes as the sole discretion of changes in property taxes as the sole discretion of Perry. If city has the authority via the Ohio Revised Code or municipal ordinance to waive, reduce, extinguish, or otherwise modify real property taxes for economic development incentives on any parcel, city agrees that it will not waive, reduce, extinguish, or otherwise modify real property taxes without the written authorization and consent of township, which may be granted or withheld in township's sole discretion. Okay, now this 5C has elements of a good compromise. The city keeps some ability to negotiate with prospective businesses in the form of income taxes and other things, maybe even like give a deal on like water or something like that. But generally, as we all know, municipalities across the country, across the state, almost always fight with incentives, sweeteners, to get businesses to come into town. We have competitors, Columbiana, Canfield, all around, and they will be offering incentives. The incentives is broken down here, like I say, it's a nice compromise. There is a kernel of you know, you get some, we get some, you know, we've got income taxes and water and stuff like that as far as what we can negotiate. But the one, in my experience, when companies do these negotiations with municipalities, they always want sweeteners. And the first thing they reach for off the shelf, the first thing they reach for is property tax, some form of property tax abatement. So, and that is the biggest tool in a municipality's toolbox to offer and dangle in front of businesses is the property tax. About 60 to 70% of municipal sweeteners are in the form of property tax abatements. That leaves 40 to 30% of these other things. So what I'm saying, just looking at this Article 5C, we sort of, if we were at a banquet, Salem has the sort of the side dishes as far as what can be negotiated. And Perry has the entree, the property tax. And although I can imagine a situation in which we've got a big company that wants to come into town and we all get together and hold hands and put our heads together and say, let's negotiate with them. Still, it makes me uncomfortable with the tax incentive sweetener that is most used to have no say in it as a municipality, as Salem. We have no say in the property taxes as used as a sweetener. None, zero, if I'm reading this agreement correctly, okay? We can control a water deal, we can control an income tax deal, but we have no say, zero, in the biggest, the entree at the banquet, as far as is used typically for sweeteners for businesses. That's something I think down the road, our job is to negotiate a deal transparently that minimizes friction points, okay? Is it possible that during the term of this agreement, Perry says, we're not going to agree to any kind of property tax abatement for this deal? It is possible. As a matter of fact, Perry sort of has an incentive. A term of art in economics is, it's called a perverse incentive, where it's an incentive that brings about sort of like things that you didn't want to happen, okay? But there's a perverse incentive by Perry to say no to any kind of property tax abatement because that would lessen their revenues. You see what I'm saying? I think the 5C is something, like I say, right now it's fairly well split, but giving total control to Perry for the largest thing that municipalities use for tax deals with potential incoming businesses to one party, I think is a very likely friction point during the term of this agreement. Our job is to minimize that. I think we should discuss that.
Nice thing
Can I
is if
speak on that?
Yes, please.
Just to maybe educate a little bit here. In Ohio, municipalities have very, very limited ability to reduce income tax, except for one major option, and that is a CRA, which we have. That's the Community Reinvestment Act.
Income or property?
That's property tax.
Okay, you said income.
I'm sorry, I
That's
meant
right,
property
okay.
tax. The property tax reduction. Reduced levies, there's a thing called inside millage of 10 mils, which the cities all get that stuff. You can go beyond that by putting stuff on the ballot like levies, things of that nature. But you can't really reduce it except for a CRA, which allows you to say, hey company, if you wanna come here, we're gonna give you a 20-year tax abatement to build in this. That's our one option that we have, that we're able to do that. And they've left us in control completely of our
Okay.
CRA.
So considering this new information, if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that, say, a big company comes into Salem Perry area and says, hey, let's talk. We're also talking to some other municipalities. That Salem does have a say in property taxes that are covered under CRA.
Yeah, that'd be new construction or renovation of existing buildings.
Okay.
There's also some tax incentives for homestead stuff, but that has to be a homeowner that the
Okay.
city has some control over, but, and the state has to be involved in that as well. But
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, this makes me feel a lot better, okay? If we're gonna have a say, hopefully an equal say in
Yes.
negotiating these deals, as far as specifically property taxes, which are the biggest tool, then my problem with this is
Solved.
minimized.
And Perry Township already has the same CRA
Yes.
that the city
it's
does.
identical, I think.
Virtually identical. I mean, you have the 15 years on a residential property. Anything longer than, I think it's, or anything over 50% on residential has, or not residential, commercial, has to be approved by the school board. So you can only offer up to 50% reduction of property taxes on commercial property without school board approval. So that's another part of it that you have to deal with.
So let's run a hypothetical. Company comes to town, they got 100 employees, they wanna build a $10 million facility, okay, to the area, the Salem Perry area. They've identified a parcel of land in Perry that they'd like to use. Salem can negotiate with them on the on the taxes. Is
Through
that
the
what I'm hearing?
CRA.
They already have the CRA in place.
Yeah, we
Yes.
already have a
Because it-
CRA in
Yes.
place, so it's already there for them to take if they want it.
Yes.
So they don't even have to negotiate with us unless they want greater than the 50%.
We'd have to
Then they have to go
extend
to the
it to
school board,
there.
and we would assist them
Yes.
with that, and I think we've done that before. Doesn't mean the school board will give it up, but
Look, the money we would get from the income tax would be much greater than we would get from the
Yeah.
real estate taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
Exactly.
sure
Yes.
that
You got that.
Perry's
And I
not-
understand
And
Perry's
if the
gonna-
property
Perry's
taxes
not
go
gonna
away,
say,
like you said, then it doesn't matter.
Keep your $1 million, we want 100,000. They're
Yeah.
not gonna do that.
Okay, okay, so this is why we talk about things. This helps me to understand that maybe there isn't as big a problem with 5C as I initially thought.
Right.
Okay, this tells me that business comes in, they wanna do business with Salem and Perry. We can negotiate on property taxes.
And I think both would be more than happy to negotiate.
And that's-
Bring it in.
This is what I wanna hear.
That's the whole
Yes.
idea of this
Right.
agreement.
Yes,
Yeah, we are for economic
Yeah,
development.
this is-
yes,
It's the other things we're trying to curtail, you know?
yes.
And Jim, I'll add to this. 20 years ago, Brooke and I negotiated an inside millage reduction with Home Depot. And we cut out Green Township. That was a very combative discussion Brooke and I had with the Mahoning County Auditor, the 3 trustees, but they basically weren't providing any service, and Home Depot wanted that.
Yeah.
So we did a conformity of boundary, we annexed, so it's City of Salem, Perry Township, South Range School District, and Brooke and I's concern, Brooke, you remember this, we wanted to keep the school whole. If we didn't take a reduced inside millage, which a municipality can, I think it's 2.8, or we're allowed to take a reduction. We didn't take our full amount to get the project,
Okay,
but we had to cut out
Yeah.
green and kept it under 10 mils.
yeah.
And it worked. And we created a TIF district. I don't know if anybody knows that, but the east side, there's a TIF district. And at the time, Lou Ramuna was the superintendent, and he says, Jim, it's vacant land. I don't see an issue. We're not getting anything off of it now. I'm surprised it hasn't developed a little more than we thought, but we did think it was gonna, I thought it was a good design, TIF, and Retzel and Andrus, the bond council, helped us with that.
Now, am I allowed to ask, Brooke, can you supply the council with a one-page summary of what you just talked about at some time here, maybe before the next meeting? I would just so we have something in paper that everybody's looking at, so that there's a common understanding of these negotiations for sweeteners and specifically property taxes. Just a one-pager. That's all we need, in plain English.
well, I'm not
Is that all right?
English.
Not in plain English.
I speak the king's English.
Yes.
I'll try.
Art thou?
Sure, I'll put something in.
So those are all great questions. Are there more areas that either side right now wants to go through? I guess the question is, I think there's somewhat of a a push right now for the 30 days to say that we have something, essentially, isn't that what you're asking for, Mayor?
Yes.
I mean, if this is something that you think is a viable agreement, then we need to move forward and let the public
In those
look
30
at it,
days, you
think
can
about
have
it,
these
make
questions answered
comments.
by
This is
Mr.
not-
Harrington talking to law director and other people that would have a lot of these questions answered if there's other concerns with the agreement. But this agreement's been 2.5 years in the making. I firmly believe that we need to, I'd make a motion to have a 30 days from now open meeting with the citizens.
Yeah, let our voters talk.
Let our voters see this agreement also, so they can have a say with the trustees as well as city council. We can keep dissecting this another 5 meetings, but
Sure, I
don't wanna
understand
attend
it.
those other 4.
No, I understand that, but, for one, Mr. Harrington's coming into this new, and he
Mhm.
brought up a lot of valid points, he doesn't have a lot of the background that we do. So I just want to make sure, for one, and I'm not singling you out, Mr. Harrington, that you've had your questions answered at least to your satisfaction at this point. If you do have more questions, and if you, not just you, but everybody is comfortable enacting that 30-day clock, so to speak.
A lot of my questions have been answered. I will have additional questions. There are some things that I will recommend we change in the agreement. But what I've seen in this council, in this meeting, is a genuine, it looks like a genuine willingness for everybody to work together, and that's what this area needs. It's what we need for the people of this area. There's 4,000 in Perry, 12,000 in Salem. We got 16,000 people to get them good jobs, okay? That's our goal. That's our goal. And we put together an agreement that sees around the corners, make sure that there's not something in here that's gonna rile either side up during that agreement. And the way we do that is we talk about it like we did tonight. That's wonderful.
And that's why I don't wanna rush it either. I think we should have a discussion with our residents
Yeah,
ourselves before we come here.
absolutely.
But yeah, do I wanna get it done by the end of the year? Absolutely. Like you said, you got new people coming in, let's, but that doesn't matter if it's October or November or.
No, but I think we need to get it out to the public, is
Yeah,
my
the
point.
30 days is just a period for everybody out there to take a look at it, think about it,
We can
ask questions, give their opinions, before we make a final decision and
There's
sign
no
off on
decision
something.
being made right now.
No.
That the decision is just
would
to
have
put
to
it
be
out to the
after the
public
30
with
days.
a tentative agreement
So,
that they can look at.
so Brooke, maybe you can correct me on this. So if we have meeting in 30 days and we make changes to the agreement, then that new agreement's gonna have to be advertised at the public meeting for another 30 days.
I think, Steve, what's.
Because if there's gonna be changes, I know like Mr. Harrington just said, he's already gonna have recommendations to make changes. Those seats,
These at this point are just minor things,
Even
mostly
minor things.
process things. For instance, on the potential of property taxes going away. We need to have something in the agreement. What's the mechanism? What do we do? Let's think about that before. Also there's a couple other areas where there was no definitive answer to resolving conflicts other than we're gonna get together and talk about it, So these minor process changes that I've got at this point.
but I worry that any of those changes that we make
Are gonna restart the
are gonna
clock.
restart that 30 days, and with you just coming in and, just reading, it, everybody else has kind of been involved in it for a little bit, that, now we're taking your comments in, which is fine, but it just may postpone that time frame a little bit, is what and Brooke, if you
Yeah,
could chime in on that.
I guess out of the abundance of caution, any change, I think all the changes should be made before the 30-day period. But I will say this, the public meeting, it's contemplated at the public meeting that the public input may result in a change. So, and it would still, after that meeting, would still allow the township and the city to adopt that changed agreement. But if there's gonna be any changes, I don't wanna argue down the road that it wasn't a material change. If we're in court over this in a year, I don't wanna be arguing that Mr. Harrington's recommended changes that we added weren't really material, they just clarified something versus them saying it's a material change and therefore the agreement's out the window. So I would recommend that we have all the changes made before we start the 30-day clock. Now, Now, it's granted, it's not sooner than 30 days. I mean, so if you set it, the public hearing 50 days, 45 days, 60 days, and could just make another announcement that, pass this thing around and that we have our final version available
It's
for
actually not a
public
bad
viewing.
idea.
Yeah, I mean, the worst that could happen is we have some major change or some change that we feel we have to do, and then we have to start the clock again for 30 days.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for 2 years.
And I don't know. It is what it is.
But we
Might as
do
well
have
start
a
the clock
motion on
now.
the floor.
Who made the motion?
Check.
I did to have the public meeting in 30 days. I'll make that motion because I feel that even with Mr. Harrington's changes in the interim, we can always start the clock again. But if Mr. Harrington's changes are explained to him and we don't have to change anything, then we can stick to that time frame.
What if we have a change?
Either way,
Same thing.
same concept. Meaning if the trustees have a change, clock starts over. There's no reason not to at least start the public meeting today. At least move this ball forward.
So the notice of the public hearing has to be in a paper of general circulation, date, time, and place, open to the public, and then the agreement has to be available for public viewing, both at the township and at the city for that 30-day period of time. So that's the rules on that.
So it would be this agreement until, if and when something gets changed, which would happen after another meeting. Because it'd be an open meeting to change anything, whether the township changed it or Mr. Harrington's concerns were addressed and we changed it in that fashion. Either way.
So just for my information, so say Mr. Harrington does make some changes, what if Mr. Gainer wants to throw some in, or anybody? So how, well, I understand that, but I'm saying, what are we going to do, reconvene with those changes
You're
again,
gonna
have
to.
another meeting?
You have to.
Well, I'm fine with that, I'm just asking the
Yeah,
question.
you're gonna have to. Any of the changes are gonna have to be public changes. And they're gonna have to be addressed and agreed upon in public.
Is there any other questions before the?
Or we're gonna hash it all out like we've been doing and keep kicking this thing down until we have 100% agreement. I mean, I can take back my motion, but
Can I?
I'd like to
add
see it
something
moving.
with-
Please.
Technically, the upfront meeting like we're doing today is not required to be a joint meeting. This is just a good session for us to hash these things out together. I mean, if there's gonna be some changes, the changes could be made and circulated until the point where the trustees think it's okay and council thinks it's okay. Then we notify the newspaper that the public hearing is gonna be held 30 days from X date, whatever the date is, we get to our final changes and go from there.
if it makes Mr. Harrington and the trustees feel better, I would take back my motion, to be honest with you. So then, if the trustees,
I understand people wanting to get this done, truly I do, but we're this far into it, I don't see any harm in taking another week or two.
I agree with you, that's why I will take
You
back
know,
my motion.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's a
Yes.
terrible thing, but once again, that's my opinion, so.
I like it.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Make sure we're 100% with it and then take it to the public. I'm good with that.
I think the worst thing we do is come out with agreement and then make changes to that public agreement before
That's
our
kind of
public meeting. It does not
keep
make
resetting the
sense.
clock.
If
Yeah.
we have a few things, and let's address them over the next week or two, and then we'll move forward. And, I
Mhm.
mean, if we're good passing it around where we don't have to have a joint meeting, if it's just minor things here and there,
Tweaks.
fine.
I'm good with that. I think that's a good
So-
idea.
I don't think it's anything major.
Please, Mike.
So, would it be a good idea to go ahead and circulate the possible agreement that we're looking
I
at
think
for
the
people to
public should
start
know
to
some
look
of
at?
this.
And not being the final form? Because it would be nice to hear what the public has to say, because if they have changes that we hear, that we think, oh yeah, we didn't think about that, that's a good idea, we don't wanna have to start all over again from that.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, it is a public document now, it's been
Yes.
distributed.
That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good
Yeah.
idea to have that available
100%.
for all of our residents.
I do too.
Yes, at least
Okay,
the public can know what we're discussing, what we're talking about, and what changes we're talking about.
Yeah.
Give more context to our conversations.
and to understand that this is not the final.
No,
This is
as long as
just
that
the
understanding's out there.
proposal.
Yeah. Close.
yes.
Okay, all right, good.
How do you plan on doing that, putting it on the
So,
website?
I could
or-
put it on the website.
We can give a copy to Morgan.
And we could put a copy in the library.
There's no issues with that, Brooke?
Is that all right?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay, yeah, we can put it in the library, we can put it on our website, you guys might have a place that you'd like to put yours. And let people start to digest it and think about it.
I think overall it's productive. I agree. This is a much more productive meeting than the last meeting.
Yes.
So I think we've pretty much wrapped that part of the discussion up for this evening, so there's nothing to adjourn with that regard, but if you guys don't want to hang around for the rest.
Sean, could you please adjourn our meeting? Would you adjourn?
Sure.
Township's way of doing it. They just say adjourn and they leave.
I'll make a motion.
Seems more simple, right?
Trustee Arapoli, in favor of adjournment.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Trustee Armini.
So moved.
Trustee Bailey.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
You guys can play musical chairs now.
Yes, please.
So is there a protocol, Brooke, where we can take a 5-minute pause so people can use the restroom?
You have control of the floor.
So 10 minutes, we will restart the meeting.
Hello, darling, how are you?
We're still in session.
So much. That's what everyone's asking, just a can of spray paint. Get about an hour. That was just, it all works. Correct. And fencing is on the agenda. Fencing is on. Fencing is on. Fencing. If you got it in you.
Sarah, you staying put?
No, I'm coming over.
You can stay put because he has to sit here.
I mean,
What is it?
He has to sit here, so you can stay
You
there.
can sit there.
Oh, so I can?
Yeah.
Thanks, thanks. Here a minute, Chandra.
We're never.
I'm like, I'm done. It's been a long day. I need to go to bed.
Somebody said what we've been doing hasn't been. I knew, but you know,
Well, no, I thought you meant our discussion.
No, I'm talking about just over the last decade. You know, my father, Paul Harrington, was the 41 councilman for Salem 40-some years ago. And when I ran for council.
Thank goodness it was before this mess got involved.
When I ran for council.
So he started.
No, he was
When I
before
ran
that.
for council.
It was after him that this mess started.
The council meeting will be starting again in 4 minutes.
Thank you.
You gonna do it every minute?
That's why I was afraid to let anybody go.
I would have just said, the council is still in session.
Right?
Sit down. Okay. So we'll have to send this to Stephen to put on our website.
Okay.
And then we'll have a copy in the office, and I'll take one over to the library. Oh, cute.
I'm guessing Ron might have been closed.
Yeah, Ron's the best.
Hurry up, Sarah's payment is gonna wear off.
It's been off since I got there. That's the thing that's driving me,
No,
keep
but
meeting
she was-
focused.
Yeah.
Because their answer was, well, we have the same experience. I said, no, no.
Yeah.
Here, you can have this one.
I got one right here.
I got one with illustrations.
Mine's $5.99.
It feels like it's done.
$5.80.
Pretty good paper there.
Mine's only $4.99. You want mine?
This is the premier one, $6.
See what Perry offered.
They're gonna be real suspicious about the expense sheet this Morgan, why do you have like 7 different expenses listed for annexation agreement?
Boy, I was getting a little nervous there.
I know.
And I can't get the number physically tomorrow, but it scares me.
I'm done.
But then again,
I have so much editing to finish up.
Science.
I know.
You know, like you can't just go buy like Sudafed anymore. You have to be there when the pharmacist is there, sign the thing. And I'm never go then. So
I know.
Don't have anything. I have it for weeks. It's like killing me.
My daughter swears by
if
Advil,
this is 10 times the property.
it's like advanced Advil, and you can get it.
These are not accurate name tags right now. These are,
Get that OTC.
Can we take,
Okay.
I can't read from there.
well, these are all upside,
No,
They're all
right side
mixed
up.
up.
they're all mixed up
We
because
all
it was
moved.
from the earlier meeting, so.
You are still Jake, though.
Okay, I'm still
You're-
Jake.
Yeah, you're Jake,
Yes, and I'm
Sarah.
still
You are
Jeff.
all,
I'm
we
your
are
dad.
all right. The only one not is.
Feels really weird.
She's not Steve.
I said,
And Ron,
I'm his dad.
And Ron's not Tony.
The rest of us are all correct.
that's Jeff Stockman,
Everyone else is.
that's Ron Zellers, this is Sarah Bear,
Yep, I'm still correct. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, the rest of us are all correct.
What's your name?
Barb Yonker.
Barb Yonker.
been a docent at your house.
Oh my gosh, hey, I'm doing the Christmas tour.
There were many minutes.
Oh, the girl with the pearl earring.
The girl with the pearl earrings.
Yes.
It was very nice meeting you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we're going on to report of city officials. Mayor, did you have anything?
No, I'm done.
Attorney Zellers.
Just congratulations to Mr. Dolan's family on the marriage of his daughter.
Thank you.
This past weekend, so.
Taking donations.
I heard it was a good time.
That's what I heard too.
That's all I have. Nothing official, but I happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Attorney Zellers? Auditors, Mr. Salvino?
Thank you. I have no official report. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Hall.
Any questions for the auditor? Treasurer's not here. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Capizzello.
No report, Mr. President, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the Safety Director? Did Mr. Donnelly?
Lost Butch.
Yep.
He left.
Okay. Okay, on to report of standing committees. My committee has met multiple times. I do have minutes from the previous meetings to read into record, which I will do at the next meeting when I'm in my regular seat.
Thank you.
Public Services Committee, Mr. Zellers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Residential Committee, Mr. Harrington.
Mr. President, I have no report.
Downtown Committee, Ms. Bear.
Mr. President, I'm just happy to be here and I have no report.
Well, we're happy to have you back.
Thanks.
Rules and Ordinance, Mr. Stockman.
Thank you, Mr. President. My committee did meet, but I will read the minutes in at the next regular council session.
Thank you. Safety Committee, Ms. Bricker.
Thank you, Mr. President. My committee has not met, therefore I have no formal report.
Economic Development, Mr. Gano.
Thank you, Mr. President. My committee did meet last week, and I will save the 22 pages of minutes for the next meeting.
Thank you.
I will miss that meeting. And Committee of the Whole, myself, my committee has not met, therefore I have no report. But I would like to ask you, does this council think there's any value in us getting together as a Committee of the Whole and going over this annexation agreement amongst ourselves, talking through some of it?
I'd be in
Yes,
favor.
because I think the law director can answer a lot of the questions.
Okay, I will send out an email tomorrow and throw out some dates, and we'll try to nail that down prior to the next regular meeting. Okay, on to introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Mr. Gano, you're going to read mine tonight for me, please?
Certainly, yep. All right. I move that we suspend statutory rules, so ordinance 50 can have all 3 readings this evening? Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, let's suspend council rules first. Let's suspend council rules so that it may be introduced.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stockman?
Help Mr. Gano.
All right, Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Thank you. Mr. Gano?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask we suspend statutory rules so that ordinance 50 may have all 3 readings this evening.
Do I have a second? Ms. Bricker?
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Thank you. Mr. Gano?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask the clerk read by title only ordinance 50 for passage this evening with the emergency clause.
Madam Clerk?
Being an ordinance authorizing appropriations and transfers as set forth below and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Zellers. Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Back to you, Mr. Gano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that we suspend, I move that we suspend council rules so that ordinance 51 can be introduced this evening.
Do I have a second? Mr. Stockman?
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman,
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Mr. Gano?
Mr. President, I move to suspend statutory rules so ordinance 51 may have all 3 readings this evening.
Do I have a second? Ms. Bear?
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Mr. Gano?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that the clerk read by title only ordinance 51 for passage with the emergency clause this evening.
Ms. Bricker?
Being a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Columbiana County Auditor and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam, please call the roll.
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Zellers, Mr. Stockman,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington.
Yes.
Mr. Gano, back to you again.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend council rules so ordinance 52 may be introduced this evening.
Do I have a second? Mr. Stockman?
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman,
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend statutory rules so ordinance 52 may have all 3 readings this evening.
Do I have a second? Ms. Bear?
Mrs. Bear,
Yes.
Ms. Bricker,
Yes.
Mr. Gano,
Yes.
Mr. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Yes.
Mr. Zellers.
Mr. Gano?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the clerk would read ordinance 52 by title only for all three readings and passage with the emergency clause.
Madam Clerk?
Being a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the Mahoning County Auditor and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the council rules be suspended so that resolution number 53 may be introduced this evening.
Do I have a second? Ms. Bricker?
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council suspend statutory rules so that resolution number 53 may have all three readings this evening.
Do I have a second? Mr. Stockman?
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the clerk read resolution 53 by title only with the emergency clause.
Madam Clerk?
Being a resolution authorizing the City of Salem Parks Commission to enter into negotiation for the transfer of real property from the County Park District and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Gano?
Is this the lot on Sharp that was the tear down? And what's our plans to do with it? Does anybody know?
So the Parks Commission was given this property with the restriction that it could not be sold for money, that it could only be used as parks or recreation areas. And they don't have a use for it. So it would be a lot for them to come clear to Salem to maintain it and things like that. So they offered it to the parks as a donation. And the parks has a grant that they've applied for if they get it, for playground equipment and things for children in that area. They claim, have said that this is not a big reach for them to maintain because they come to Kelly Park to maintain area and there's really no playground space on that end of town for them, so they would really like to do this for the children on the west side.
Kelly Park is not that far.
No, it's right there.
Yeah,
You can see it.
would we be better served to put the equipment in Kelly Park so we're only maintaining one?
There's not a space. The space that they previously used for like sandboxes and things actually belongs to the school building. That's what I was told when I asked that question.
Okay.
So it's not a very big lot.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
know.
a little concerned we keep adding parks everywhere that,
Yeah. So this did go
Adds
through the
up.
commission and they did approve it, but it has to come to us to approve also.
okay. That's all I've got.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
No.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
You should have told him that before the vote.
I missed my opportunity.
You said you could go there for one.
Mr. Stockman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Trying to remember where I'm at. I move to suspend statutory rules so ordinance 54 can be read for its first, second, and third readings tonight.
Do I have a second? Ms. Bricker?
I was losing place. I
Mrs.
think I
Bear?
wrapped up at lunch.
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the clerk read ordinance 54 by title only for all three readings with the emergency clause for passage tonight. Oh, there's no emergency clause, sorry, without the emergency clause for passage tonight.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, we're good. That's for passage.
Okay.
Okay. Being an ordinance replacing and adopting chapter 751.
Sorry.
751 of Part 7 of the codified ordinances of the city of Salem regarding mobile food vending.
Is there any discussion?
I did have a question. In 751.05, we designate authority to the city zoning officer to review and prepare these licenses. Would it not be better served at the health department rather than the zoning office?
That is with or his or her designee, which is the health department.
Do we
I'm
need to
leaving
make
it up
any
to the
other correction?
administration to make that decision.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stockman.
Any other discussion? Hearing none.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend statutory rules so that ordinance 55 can be read for its first, second, and third reading tonight.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gano?
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano? Did I get you?
Thank you for correcting that to Mr. Yes.
It's
Mr. Gano, yes.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the clerk read ordinance 55 by title only for its all three readings with the emergency clause for passage tonight.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk.
Being an ordinance modifying and amending section 1147.04 of chapter 1147, part 11, title 3 of the codified ordinances of the city of Salem, and declaring an emergency.
And Mr. Stockman.
We need a vote.
Oh, yeah, we'll vote first.
Oh. Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Stockman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend statutory rules so ordinance number 56 can be read for its first, second, and third readings tonight.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gano?
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the clerk read ordinance 56 by title only for all three readings with the emergency clause tonight.
Madam Clerk.
Being an ordinance modifying and amending section 1194.01 of chapter 1194, part 11, title 7 of the codified ordinances of the city of Salem regarding requirements for fences and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion?
I would like to make point for the young lady in the audience, because she pulled me aside and she's one of my constituents.
Okay.
If a person to get a fence has to go to the zoning office, okay, and they have to have a survey done on their property, that legal bindings contract survey has to be brought to the zoning office in order for them to put a fence on the property line. It cannot be hearsay. The property line has to be distinguished. So just to clarify in open council, just
And I
to.
have the right to see that survey.
110%, yes. It'll be at the zoning office, so, yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes. That concludes the introduction of ordinances and resolutions. On to pleasure of council. Mr. Harrington, do you know what pleasure of council is?
No.
Okay.
You're about to find out.
You're about to find out.
Really? You know that I could talk for about 5 hours.
Well,
you
remember, I haven't called on you.
2 minutes.
Name a subject.
Remember, I haven't called on you.
You get 2 minutes.
Why is it always on me? Do I talk a lot?
You get 2 minutes.
I get 2 minutes. All I can say is that I'm very pleased with getting together with Perry tonight. I think this was a productive meeting. The only goal here should be to bring businesses into Salem. We gotta get our act together and do that. After this agreement is signed, we need to be thinking about how we're going, what strategy we're gonna use to start talking to businesses directly and cutting deals and getting them in here. I don't think any of us, all of us will be very proud of ourselves 5 years from now if we've brought a good number of jobs that pay a good, decent amount for the people in the Perry and Salem community. It'll be transformative, so we gotta get it done. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Ms. Bear, did you?
Did we, go over the two events
Oh, no, we didn't.
applications that were presented before council?
Okay, I wasn't aware. Sorry.
Right here.
Well, the
Do you
meeting's
need
not
them?
adjourned yet, so.
Just do them right now real quick.
Do you want
Sarah.
these? Yeah, you want the
She
paper
can't get
copies?
up.
She can't.
I'll help you.
I can get up, but it'll take 40 minutes. Yeah, there you go.
We're not doing 40 minutes.
5C.
Jeff's like, I got this.
Well, yeah, I can help.
Thank you.
I'm not washing them, but other than that, I'll help you.
Okay, so we have one application form for the Sod Center 15th Anniversary Gala, and that is to be held at 315 East State Street. Okay, it looks like Saturday, October 25th, and Sunday, October 26th. 12 to 12, event stage 5 to 9.
Their date is October 25th. Yeah, that's the date they're taking down.
Oh, okay. So I did tear down dates, yes. So the event is a one-day event, Saturday, October 25th, from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's start time, end time, and the event is 5 to 9 p.m. What else do you want to know about it?
No, they need a road closure, that's all. And I think it's had all the sign-offs from Mr. Capizzo and them. Yes, the closure of Broadway. And the day ahead to set up the tent, so there will be necessary barriers. But we get it after all the department heads have signed off on it, so
Yep, looks like.
any concerns should be addressed when we see it. And this is for Sod Center's anniversary celebration.
Okay.
Well, near the gala too.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, do I have a motion, or do we just vote as a council? Just do a roll call? or-
Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Okay.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Ms. Bricker?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Mr. Knoll?
Yes.
Mr. Stockman?
Yes.
Mr. Zellers?
Is that the only?
Then the
Another one.
Halloween parade is the other one. Should be the next. Keep going. It's the Halloween parade.
Oh, okay. And then our next event is the Halloween Parade, coordinated by Mr. Plaguey, Thursday, October 30th, from 6 to 6:30 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Bricker?
It's Mr.
Yes.
Plaguey.
Mrs. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Gano?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
It's Mr.
Mr.
Plaguey.
Knoll?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Zellers? Mr. Zellers, yes, okay.
sorry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
And so we'll just start with you as far as pleasure of council, or continue.
I'm thankful for a productive meeting tonight, and I look forward to a solid agreement between Perry and Salem in the very near future. Thanks.
Mr. Gano?
I'd like to congratulate Sitting President Knoll for recently getting another one off the payroll. And,
It doesn't always work that way.
well,
He doesn't have kids yet, Andrew, doesn't know how it works.
but no, congratulations on the marriage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Zellers?
I have nothing, thank you.
Ms. Bricker?
I would also like to congratulate you on the wedding of your daughter.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful that we had such a productive meeting tonight.
Mr.
I have three things. I'm keeping it to the 2-minute maximum. Number one, I'd like to welcome Sarah Bear back to council, and thank goodness it was a
Thank you for
speedy
all the
recovery.
help, yeah.
I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Knoll, for the wedding, and Mr. Harrington, thank you for your enthusiasm tonight. It's much appreciated, and please keep up the enthusiasm in the questions. So the only dumb question is the one not asked. And that's all.
Okay. Oh, that concludes our meeting this evening. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, give me that. Okay.
He said he's sorry, you said hello. He's saying like, he would like to sit down with you. A little bit information, I'm sorry.
I'm signing as president of council.
Yes, and he doesn't do shit, so. But, okay. Do you know what's in my thing for you? It says Jeffrey Stockman. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah, yep.
I was like, I don't know if that like transferred over for something, because I'm like, I would never call you Jeffrey. You need to keep it on hand at all times.
Yeah, that's, mine was,
You tore it off the cover, I'm concerned. Maybe you should put it, maybe you should put it in the.
Keep in mind.
exactly.
Oh, my lord.
Yep.
I have not met you, sir.
You keep plugging in that word.
Morgan, how
Would you be back?
Good, how are you, sir?
Your copy.
It's yours.
Oh.
Mojo
This
News.
one.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, I just never
Morning Journal.
Oh,
I think that's his email address.
Yeah, Mojo News is the email. I've just never heard anyone say it out loud.
Salem News. Hey, Salem, you too, Jim. Yep, we'll be in touch.
Jack, I'm gonna continue putting stuff together.
Okay.
As far as that particular.
Yeah. Like I said, the stuff I came up with was paint with broad brush averages. That's how you
I know, but.
Yep. That's it.
See, thank you. You have a day tomorrow. I'm gonna call my father. He did the same thing.
You can put this verbatim. Are you welcome? Thank you. Geez Louise, how many parks do we need in this town?
Economic.
Not against parks. We should just be investing the money in the parks we already have, not taking on new park projects.
And then I have another falling out.
But you can just stick with
I guess it's not as bad as I thought.
Oh, please do.
It's not pleasant, but yeah. And then Thursday. I don't know what this is, Salem Post Agreement, Microsoft Teams meeting.
Hey, do it for her all day. You know you want to.
And Parks budget, which will be horrible. And then Sal and Kayla at from 2 to 3.